Yeah. What brought you today is a copy. I do a lot of writing. I write a lot of speeches and just different little things that I try and put out into the world to just try and make change. So this is something I've written. I've got copies for you guys, but I'm going to read it to you first. It's called Frankenstein's Monster. I was born with a tiny glitch on my spine, and I now live out the prophecy of a brilliant young woman born in the 1800s. Mary Shelley, you suck. You saw the future from a perspective I live and breathe today. I am the creation of a new age Frankenstein. I live completely dependent on a capitalist society where survival of the fittest is the norm. In order to live, I require medical supplies, an adapted home environment, and a support network. I'm one of the lucky ones that survives with limited supplies, a moderately wheelchair accessible home environment, and amazing family and friends. I credit a rural childhood, 20 years of looking for accessible housing, and an amazing support network for my successes in a very cruel world. I'm not a monster who needs to be taken care of. I'm an educated, community-focused, hard-working, thoughtful woman who would like to participate here in Alberta, where I was born and raised. I'm tired of living a nightmare of another thoughtful young woman born centuries ago. This has nothing to do with space or resources. This is entirely to do with attitude. Our society's paternalistic, charitable attitude needs a readjustment. Do I have human rights in Canada? Heaven won't be crowded, and I'll bet it's wheelchair accessible. In Canada, we only have human rights, the Human Rights Act, to protect us. In other developed countries, they have specific government legislation specific to disability, like the Americans with Disabilities Act. They have another such thing in the UK. So as far as that goes, Canada's a little behind in that we have reactive laws rather than proactive laws. And I worked for the federal government for 15 years, and they finally sort of tired of trying to accommodate me. And so they offered me a medical retirement. That was really hard. That day I cried. Like, it was like further validation that I don't belong, that I can't do this. But I decided that I would use the pension that they were going to give me as my paycheck to advocate. And so I would keep working. I would work at my pace, on my hours, and know that, and see, and I get teary because in essence, I've accomplished a lot more this way than I ever did in a regular job. And it is an honor to do the things that I've been able to do. Okay, these are what I call my pseudo parking blocks. So pretend that they're big concrete blocks, right, that you have in parking lots, right? Well, there's never enough space, right? How am I supposed to get through this? But the ramp's right there. You mean I gotta go all the way down the block because I can't get past these blocks? Well, I had a young woman of 21 years old show me that really all you have to do is this. Now, is that not amazing? Thank you. It always intrigues me why people feel sorry for me. Are you kidding? I went to the 1988 Paralympics for wheelchair basketball. I've been all over the world traveling. Like, if you own it, right? And that's what we often talk about is ownership. If you can own it, I mean, there's amazing opportunities. I've had so many people in my life say that you can't. And I'm just very fortunate and grateful that I was always quicker than they were, because they usually were halfway out of their mouth saying it and I was already doing it. So that I feel grateful for having that kind of energy, because otherwise I don't know where I would be. And the reason I advocate today is because I have a sister without a disability who I shudder to think if she was in my shoes, what would happen. I mean, it's always interesting to me is that I see the world from a perspective that others don't. And how far we have to come, even with this group. I know they learned a lot tonight, and I am thrilled that they're open to learning. But I guess my hopes is that someday we're not teaching stuff about disability, because I think that the thing about disability that people don't realize is that we're in every other demographic group. We're in every other visible minority. We are everywhere. We are a part of society, the most diverse part. And yeah, I can't wait for a day where we're just included and we don't have to talk about it anymore.